The discovery of the missing entry, Captain Sarah. Chen adjusted her environmental suit as she stepped into the ancient Vorthok facility. The dead moon's surface had protected this structure for over 60,000 years, and now her team would be the first beings to enter it since its builders vanished. The airless corridors stretched before them, illuminated only by their helmet lights and the faint blue glow of dormant energy conduits running along the walls. Atmospheric readings show the facility is still sealed, Dr. James Rodriguez reported. Through the CUM system, his voice carried the excitement that always accompanied a major discovery. Whatever's in here has been perfectly preserved. Sarah nodded to her team. Besides James, she had brought Zaranine, a Vorthok archaeologist whose forearms made her invaluable for handling delicate ancient technology, and Commander Victor Pet, whose military background kept them all alive during dangerous expeditions like this one. The Vorthok had been one of the galaxy's most advanced civilizations before their mysterious disappearance. Their technology rivaled anything the current Galactic Federation possessed, and their star maps were legendary for their accuracy. Finding an intact facility was like discovering a treasure trove of cosmic knowledge. The main chamber should be just ahead, Zaranine said, her translator converting her clicking language into standard Galactic. Her compound eyes reflected their lights as she consulted a handheld scanner. The power signature is strongest there. They emerged into a vast spherical chamber dominated by a massive crystalline structure at its center. The crystal pulsed with internal light, and as they approached, holographic displays began materializing around them. Star charts, navigation data, and what appeared to be a complete map of the galaxy spread out in 3 dimensions. "This is incredible," James whispered, pulling out his recording equipment. "It's not just a star map. It's a complete database of every inhabited system in the galaxy. Look at the detail level." Sarah studied the holographic display, watching as trade routes, political boundaries, and resource distributions shifted and changed across thousands of years of recorded history. The Vorthok had documented everything with scientific precision. Every world, every civilization, every species was catalogued and cross-referenced. But something was wrong. "James, run a comparative analysis against our current galactic survey." "Data," Sarah ordered. "I want to see if there are any discrepancies." "Already on it," he replied, interfacing his portable computer with the ancient system through Zaranine's technological adapters. "The Vorthok systems are surprisingly compatible with our equipment. They must have anticipated someone would eventually find this place." Commander Petrov stood guard near the entrance while the scientists worked. His practical military mind was always focused on potential threats, but even he seemed awed by the scope of the discovery. How long would it have taken them to compile all this information? "Millennia," Zaranine answered. "My ancestors were methodical. Every piece of data would have been verified multiple times before inclusion in such an archive." The comparison analysis finished, and James frowned at the results. "That's strange. The Vorthok database shows gravitational anomalies that suggest a major inhabited system in Sector 77 Alpha, but there's no corresponding entry in their star charts." Sarah moved closer to examine the data. "Show me the gravitational patterns." The display shifted, highlighting a region of space where something massive should exist. The gravitational effects were clear: star positions, asteroid trajectories, and even the orbital mechanics of nearby systems all indicated the presence of a significant stellar body with multiple planets. "It's not just missing," James continued, his excitement growing. "Look at these data markers. Someone deliberately removed it from the archive. The gravitational data survived because it was embedded in the physics calculations for surrounding systems, but the direct entries were surgically excised. Could it have been destroyed? Victor asked. Maybe the system was consumed by a supernova or black hole. Zara-9's forearms danced across the control interface as she pulled up additional data. Negative. The gravitational signature indicates. The system is still there. Whatever removed, the data wanted to hide this place, not destroy it. Sarah felt the familiar thrill of a major discovery. Can you reconstruct what was removed? The Vorthok were thorough record keepers, James said, his fingers flying across his equipment. They cross-referenced everything. If I can find enough secondary references, I might be able to piece together the missing information. Hours passed as James worked with increasing intensity. Sarah and Victor explored other parts of the facility, while Zara-9 assisted with the technical aspects of interfacing with Vorthok technology. The ancient builders had left behind not just star charts, but libraries of scientific data, philosophical treatises, and what appeared to be warnings about various galactic threats. "I've got something," James called out, his voice tight with excitement and disbelief. "The cross-references are painting a picture of the missing system, and you're not going to believe this." They gathered around the display as James's reconstruction algorithm began filling in the gaps. Slowly, like a photograph developing, the missing system began to take shape. A young star with multiple planets, one of which showed clear signs of advanced civilization. The system designation appeared, Terra Prime. Terra Prime, Victor repeated. That name sounds familiar. Sarah's breath caught in her throat. It should. It's mentioned in some of humanity's oldest legends and myths. Stories about a lost homeworld, a paradise we supposedly came from before, settling on Earth. But that's impossible, Zara-9 interjected. Human history clearly shows your species evolved on Earth. You have fossil records, evolutionary chains, everything that proves terrestrial origin. James was already running deeper analysis on the reconstructed data. According to this, Terra Prime wasn't just any human world. It was the center of what appears to have been the galaxy's first major interstellar civilization. Look at these trade route patterns. Everything flows through Terra Prime. It was like the galactic capital. The implications hit Sarah like a physical blow. If this data was accurate, then everything the galaxy believed about human history was wrong. Humanity hadn't been latecomers to the galactic community. They had founded it. Run a temporal analysis, she ordered. When does the data suggest Terra Prime was active? The answer made Victor curse in 3 languages. 60 to 70,000 years ago, right around the time the Vorthok civilization disappeared. More pieces of the puzzle began falling into place as James dug deeper into the cross-reference data. Terra Prime hadn't just been a human homeworld. It had been the seat of a vast interstellar empire that included dozens of species. Humans had apparently been the unifying force that first brought the galaxies, various civilizations together in peaceful cooperation. But what happened to them? Zara-9 asked. Why would such a successful civilization simply vanish? And why would someone go to such lengths to erase them from history? Sarah studied the data patterns, looking for clues. James, search for any references to conflicts or disasters around the time Terra Prime disappeared from the records. The search yielded fragments of information that painted a disturbing picture. References to the Great War, the Silence Protocol, and something called the Exile Decision appeared in various cross-referenced documents. Most of the specific details had been purged, but enough remained to suggest that Terra Prime's disappearance hadn't been due to external destruction. They chose to leave, Sarah realized. Whatever happened, the Terra Prime civilization made a deliberate decision to abandon their empire and erase themselves from galactic history. But why would they do that? Victor demanded. Why would the galaxy's most successful civilization choose to disappear? Before anyone could speculate further, the ancient facility's systems suddenly came to life with new intensity. Warning lights began flashing, and an automated voice began speaking in archaic Vorthok. Zara 29 translated quickly, her compound eyes wide with alarm. It's a security protocol. The system detected our reconstruction of the Terra Prime data. It's warning us that this information was classified for the protection of galactic civilization. Classified by whom? Sarah asked. By the Terra Prime Authority itself. According to this, they left specific instructions that knowledge of their existence should remain hidden until certain conditions were met. What conditions? Zaranine's translation paused as more complex information flowed across the displays. It's not clear. Something about proving wisdom, demonstrating growth, and ensuring that the mistakes of the past won't be repeated. The facility's warnings intensified, and Victor moved closer to Sarah. Captain, I recommend we extract what data we can and leave. Whatever happened to Terra Prime, someone with considerable power wanted it to stay hidden. But Sarah was studying the reconstructed data with growing determination. The coordinates of Terra Prime were now clear, and according to the gravitational data, the system should still exist. We're going there. Sarah, that might not be wise, James warned. If this civilization chose to hide itself, there might be good reasons we should respect that decision. Or there might be good reasons we need to understand what really happened. Sarah countered. Think about it. Humanity's true origin story has been erased from history. We have a right to know where we really came from. Commander Petrov checked his weapon systems instinctively. If we're doing this, we go prepared for anything. A civilization advanced enough to erase itself from galactic memory probably left behind safeguards. Zaranine was already copying the available data to their ship's computers. The facility is starting to lock down. Whatever security protocols Terra Prime left behind, we've definitely triggered them. As they prepared to leave the ancient Vorthok facility, Sarah took one last look at the star map showing Terra Prime's location. 60,000 years of hidden history. And they were about to uncover the truth behind one of the galaxy's greatest mysteries, the journey to Terra. Prime would take them beyond the known edges of explored space, to a system that officially didn't exist. Whatever they found there would change everything humanity thought it knew about its place in the galaxy. Asterisk, the truth behind the erasure. 3 days later, Sarah's ship emerged from hyperspace at the coordinates indicated by the Vorthok star map. What they found defied every expectation. Terra Prime was real, and it was magnificent. The system contained 7 planets orbiting a stable yellow star, remarkably similar to Earth's sun. The 3rd planet showed clear signs of advanced civilization. Orbital structures, atmospheric processes, and energy signatures that registered on their instruments from millions of kilometers away. Incredible, James breathed, studying the sensor readings. The technology level is off the charts. Some of these energy patterns are completely unknown to current galactic science. But there was something unsettling about the system's perfection. Everything was too clean, too organized, as if it had been frozen in time rather than naturally developed. No communications traffic, Victor reported from the tactical station. No ship movements, no industrial activity. It's like a museum exhibit. Zara-9's multiple arms worked across her analysis stations. The orbital structures are maintained by automated systems, very sophisticated ones. They've been operating independently for thousands of years. As they approached the main planet, the scale of Terra Prime's achievements became clear. Cities covered entire continents, connected by transportation networks that seemed to flow like rivers of light. Massive space elevators reached into orbit, linking to construction platforms that dwarfed anything in the current galaxy. Yet it was all empty. Population readings are minimal, James reported. Maybe a few thousand life signs scattered across the entire planet. This world was built for billions. Their ship was guided to a landing platform by automated systems that activated as they approached. The technology was so seamless that Victor barely had to touch the controls. Whatever had happened to Terra Prime, its infrastructure had been designed to last. The landing platform was surrounded by buildings that seemed to blend, organic curves with crystalline structures. The architecture was beautiful, but eerily quiet. As they disembarked, their environmental sensors confirmed that the atmosphere was not only breathable, but perfectly optimized for human physiology. This place was definitely built by humans, Sarah observed, but humans unlike any we've seen before. They were met by a figure that appeared to be human, but moved with an unusual grace. She was tall and elegant, with silver hair and eyes that seemed to hold the weight of centuries. Her clothing was simple, but made from materials that shimmered with their own inner light. "Welcome to Terra Prime," she said, in perfect galactic standard, though her accent carried tones that seemed older than any known human dialect. "I am Aria 7, guardian of the Memorial City. We have been expecting visitors like you for a very long time." Victor's hand moved instinctively toward his weapon, but Sarah gestured for calm. "Expecting us." The patterns were clear. Eventually, someone would piece together enough fragments to find us. We hoped it would be humans who made the discovery. Aria 7's ancient eyes studied each member of the team. "You seek answers about your true origins. Are you human?" James asked, scanning her with his instruments. "I was, once. Now I am something between human and machine, created to preserve the truth until the time came to share it." Aria 7 gestured toward the empty city around them. "Come, there is much you need to understand." She led them through streets that should have been bustling with activity, but instead felt like walking through a perfectly preserved archaeological site. Buildings rose around them in impossible spirals and flowing curves, their surfaces occasionally displaying holographic information in scripts that hurt to look at directly. Terra Prime was not just humanity's homeworld, Area 7 began as they walked. It was the galaxy's first attempt at true interstellar civilization. We brought together dozens of species in a confederation based on mutual cooperation and shared knowledge. What happened to it? Sarah asked. Aria-7 paused before a massive structure that seemed to be both a building and a work of art. "We succeeded too well." The Confederation grew powerful, prosperous, and confident. "We believed we had solved the fundamental problems of galactic civilization, war, resource competition, territorial disputes. We were wrong." Inside the building, they found themselves in a vast chamber filled with holographic displays showing the galaxy as it had existed 60,000 years ago. Hundreds of worlds showed signs of advanced civilization, connected by trade routes and communication networks that spanned the galaxy. The Great War began as a small territorial dispute between two client species. Area 7 continued. Standard diplomatic protocols should have resolved it quickly. Instead, it escalated beyond anyone's ability to control. The displays shifted to show the progression of the conflict. What had started as a minor border dispute spread like a virus through the Confederation. Species that had lived in harmony for millennia suddenly turned on each other with a viciousness that shocked everyone. We discovered that prosperity and peace had not eliminated the fundamental drives toward aggression and dominance. Area 7 explained. They had simply hidden them beneath a veneer of civilization. When the veneer cracked, the underlying darkness proved stronger than ever. The holographic displays showed the progression of the war with devastating clarity. Entire star systems were sterilized. Species that had taken millions of years to evolve were wiped out in days. The technology that had created galactic civilization was turned into instruments of unprecedented destruction. The war lasted only 18 months in real time, Area 7 said, her voice heavy with ancient grief. But in those 18 months, over 40% of all intelligent life in the galaxy was exterminated. Victor studied the tactical displays with professional interest. What stopped it? We did. Terra Prime made the decision to end the war by removing its cause, us. Area 7 waved her hand, and the displays shifted to show Terra Prime itself during the final days of the conflict. We realized that our success as galactic leaders had created dependencies that made conflict inevitable. Other species looked to us for guidance, protection, resources. When we couldn't provide everything to everyone, they fought over what remained. Sarah began to understand the magnitude of what had happened. You chose exile. We chose sacrifice, Area 7 corrected. The silence protocol was activated. Every human in the galaxy was recalled to Terra Prime or selected colony worlds. We systematically destroyed our own infrastructure, erased our records from galactic databases, and withdrew from all contact with other species. The displays showed the systematic dismantling of human civilization. Massive space stations were abandoned or destroyed. Colonies were evacuated. In some cases, humans chose to remain on primitive worlds and actually regressed their technology levels to prevent accidental rediscovery. But why erase yourselves completely? James asked. Why not just withdraw Without human leadership, the remaining galactic species had initially descended into chaos. But gradually, they had learned to cooperate without a dominant species controlling them. New forms of government and cooperation had emerged, more stable, because they were based on equality rather than hierarchy. The current Galactic Federation is the result, Area 7 explained. It's not as advanced as our Confederation was, but it's more sustainable. No single species dominates, so no single point of failure can bring down the whole system. And the humans who remained on worlds like Earth, Sarah asked, volunteers. They accepted memory conditioning that erased their knowledge of Terra Prime and galactic civilization. They started over as primitive hunters and gatherers, allowing natural evolution and cultural development to proceed without interference. Zara 29 had been quietly analyzing the displays with her equipment. The records show that some human populations were seeded on multiple worlds, not just Earth. Correct. We wanted to ensure human survival while preventing any single human world from becoming dominant again. Earth, New, Geneva, Kepler Prime, and dozens of other worlds received human populations with no memory of their true origins. Victor frowned at the tactical implications. But now humans from Earth have developed space travel again. Doesn't that threaten the stability you created? Area 7 smiled for the first time since they'd met her. That was always part of the plan. We hoped that given 60,000 years of independent development, humans might have learned different ways of approaching galactic civilization, ways that wouldn't repeat the mistakes of the past. So this was all a test, Sarah asked. More of a second chance. The question now is whether humanity has truly learned from its ancestors' mistakes, or whether the same drives that created the Great War still dominate your species. The chamber fell silent as the implications sank in. Humanity's place in the galaxy wasn't that of newcomers, learning from older civilizations. They were the older civilization, getting a chance to do things differently. What do you expect us to do with this knowledge? James finally asked. That choice is yours to make, Area 7 replied. You could reveal the truth to the galaxy and reclaim humanity's position as galactic leaders. Or you could continue the patient work of building true cooperation between equals, using your knowledge to guide without dominating. Sarah looked at her team. Victor's military mind was clearly calculating the strategic advantages of revealing Terra Prime's technology. James was overwhelmed by the scientific implications of 60,000 years of advanced human development. Zaranine seemed to be processing how this revelation would affect relationships between humans and other species. The technology here, Sarah said slowly, it could solve so many of the galaxy's current problems. It could, Area 7 agreed. But it could also recreate the same dependencies that led to the Great War. The choice of how to use this knowledge is the test your species must pass. As they prepared to leave Terra Prime, Sarah realized that finding humanity's true origins had been the easy part. Deciding what to do with that knowledge would determine whether the human species had truly learned from its ancient mistakes, or whether history was doomed to repeat itself on an even grander scale. The empty cities of Terra Prime stood as a monument to the price of good intentions and the weight of responsibility that came with great power. Whatever humanity chose to do next would echo across the galaxy for another 60,000 years. Asterisk.